mods. Um, Trying something new here
Oh,
tonight, a little bit on my end. So let me know if you can hear us, you can see us, and we will get started. Alec actually put out a post a little bit earlier asking about a survey, what you all want to talk about, and the winner was Matt or Alec. It was scheduling, right?
yeah, scheduling tips and tricks.
Yep.
It was actually the winner. So, and that was everybody keeps voting more than once. I guess I got to put in some stipulations next time. So everybody's voting for all five, all three, thinking
I
we're
think
gonna talk all three. But
I think
no,
you
let's
can.
pick one. I think what's that?
I think you can actually select inside there when you make those polls. You can select. They can only choose one, I believe, if that's what we
All
need to
right.
do. Just so you know,
Oh,
no big, no
yeah, I'll
biggie.
take a look at that. See what we can do. So, no, but I think dialing it down to a topic like that every week, it kind of keeps things on point. Um, and kind of keep it, a little bit shorter and sweeter. Everybody can get back to, enjoying their families, and we can kind of answer some questions really based on the topic. So,
Yep, sounds good. Sorry, I'm just typing stuff in the comments section.
nope, you're good.
There we go. But no, you want to start off with any suggestions on what you have on scheduling, how you go about scheduling, and what's worked for you?
Yeah, yeah, of course. So, um, the biggest problem that we always ran into for years. All right, and I'm kind of to the point too with all this stuff too that everything that I'm telling you guys right now, it's really going to be, there's going to be no like ifs, ands, or like buts, in between everything. I'm just going to tell you because it works. I'm going to tell you because it works for me, and I'm going to, everything's going to be really straightforward from here on out, just because I want you to be able to apply these things in your business as well too. So anyway, back to the question. But so we had a big problem for a really long time of scheduling work. And the problem was because we'd get on a job and we'd schedule it out for 5 days. So we'd be there Monday through Friday. And what would end up happening is we'd always get an upsell and an upsell and an upsell on a job. And then, what happens? You get to the end of the week and you still need another day or two, to be able to get the upsell work done. But then the following week, the next Monday, you're supposed to be at somebody else's job. So then you got to call that person and say, hey, we're actually going to be out a few more days. Then you got to call the next person and the next person, and depending on how many people you have on your schedule, you got to sit there and you got to make 5 or 6 phone calls. And then you get to the next job, all right, and you get upsells and upsells. And so it throws it completely out of whack with everything. As well as the fact that, we all get those random calls throughout the middle of the year, like, hey, it might be a really, really good client of ours. And so they gave us a call and say, hey man, I got a party coming up next week. Can you come and get some mulch in my yard? Right? Now normally, it's just like a random person calling in and saying that, my answer is gonna be no. But if it's a really good client of ours, and they get us a lot of work, we get a lot of referrals and stuff like that, we try to get to it. Right? Like anybody would. So we'd end up working on Saturdays and the overtime would just be ridiculous on everything because we're landscapers. We don't work 8 hours a day. So what we started doing, and I actually picked this up, in the $1 Million Academy. We were all talking about it, but I started scheduling only 4 days out of the week. So I schedule Monday through Thursday, and I have nothing on Fridays. And so what that allows us to do, that kind of gives us a day for either upsells on a job, or it gives us a day to get caught up. We have rain during the week, or or it gives me an extra day during the week to wash trucks, or to go get that mulch job done for that really good client that refers us to all of his friends. And it's been a huge, it's just been a huge change, for everything. Also, too, random sprinkler repairs. Yeah, that's always a big one because I can send my guys out on a Friday if there's no work. Um, they can get, they can make an extra, $1,000, $2,000 just doing a simple sprinkler repair. little bit of overtime if needed, or they can get kind of caught up for the week.
Yeah.
So, that one's been a big one for us. Um, Another tip and trick that I've done with all my scheduling is expectations. So on the bottom of every quote I have a weather disclaimer, and that weather disclaimer, it basically kind of I've written everything out as far as what happens if it rains. I started doing this because we'd get on a job site somewhere and it would rain for 3 days straight. And of course, what happens when it rains for 3 days straight on a job? You got to wait, what, 4 days for it to dry out?
Mm-hmm.
And then within those 4 days, what are you going to do? Okay, so I started being really upfront with people about our scheduling and tell them, we're going to come through, we're going to get the work done, but if it rains and we have an opportunity to go to the other side of town where it didn't rain to accomplish some work, we're going to do that. But we will always be back to your house within 7 days after the last rainstorm to keep making progress. So setting expectations was another one. I mean, you can do that with anything: rain, snow. Yeah, it's. We just announced to the family that my wife's having a baby in October. So guess what's going to go and guess what's going to go in the disclaimer? Come jobs around September, October. I'm going to tell everybody that we're expecting a baby due, and when that happens, you're not going to see me for 2 weeks. You might see my guys, but me myself, I'll be able to answer a phone call here and there, but I'm basically going to check out for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And so, scheduling wise, it seems like we always get into just this tight bind every single year, especially during the spring, because we have everybody calling us all at once to do all these things. And so, just being able to set expectations with people, as well as kind of dictate your schedule with only scheduling 4 out of the 5 days per week. It's really helped us, stay on track with everything. Yeah. And it's definitely something that we've adopted to our business, and it's going to stay forever.
I like that. Now, what do you do for your team? How do they know what's going on? What they know what to do for the jobs? How do you have that all set up?
Yeah. So first off, all my quotes are extremely detailed. I'm sure everybody on here has seen them before. I've posted them, but they're extremely detailed, to the point that the team could really follow them for the job notes. I put them all in order of when we're going to do them, and they all know that. But once the deposit is paid, that's when I start going on the attack with the plan. And this is easily the most important part of my role right now in the company. Because I listed out for how, estimated hours, I list out the tools that they need, the materials that they need, and I list it out day by day. So it says Monday, tear out. We're going to need this truck, this trailer, this piece of equipment. And then I do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, basically create a checklist of what we're going to be doing. And, it takes a little bit of time at first because you kind of get into a rhythm of it, right? And you kind of create a template almost. And so the first several times I did it, it was dirty. It was just really trashy. Guys had a lot of questions about it, but now I've got it really dialed in, to where my team can really look at it, and I don't get phone calls anymore. They know exactly what it is. So everything, job notes for everything is just an extreme amount of detail, more than what you think you need.
So I like that. I like the detail, and I like the fact that you take the time to actually create those lists and everything, because we think, I don't have time for that crap. Look how much time your crews waste if they don't know what needs to happen out there, or they don't know what supplies they need to get, or whatever it is. you may have a little bit more work to do on the front end, but on the back end, you're going to save yourself so many headaches, so much time, so much hassle.
Yeah,
It's totally worth it. I don't understand why you wouldn't even think about that.
yeah.
I get it,
I mean,
how busy you
yeah.
are.
No, it's one of those things too, man. That once I thought I was too, but then once I started doing it, okay, and anybody that has the excuse like, oh, I don't have time for that, or that won't work for my team, or you know, they still need me there. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit because you know I sit down. I can write one up after my kids go to bed, and it takes me 30 minutes to write in a $25,000 job. Okay, because we know this stuff. It's all in our head.
Yeah.
We know everything. So we need to get it out of our head and onto paper so that our team can follow it. But guess what happens after I send them the job notes? I don't have to be there. I I there's more people than just me on the team that are now accountable for that job to be done. It takes the accountability and it spreads it throughout the team.
Yeah.
So now, if they don't have the parts, or if they get to the job site and they left the parts of the shop, it's not my fault. It's written on the goddamn job notes.
Yep.
You're supposed to check those things before you do it. And all these people too. Another one that it brings up too is foreman, okay, and your crew leads. Now, I've had a really big change of heart with this over the past 2 years. Okay, it's not the 1980s anymore. It's not the 1990s anymore. Okay, if everybody's griping about the workforce today and not being able to find the competent foreman, okay, because nobody sticks around for 2 years to prove themselves, I'm just telling you right now, it's not going to happen. If you want a millennial to stick around for 2 or 3 years before they prove themselves to be a foreman, I'm 29 and I'm telling you right now, it's just not going to happen. Okay. So if you really want to get to the point where you're out of the field as a business owner and you're actually working on the business, okay, you can create these job notes and you can create a foreman nearly overnight. And that's exactly what I did.
Yep.
I could take, my 9-year-old could go to the job site and look at these notes and be able to run it, be able to have a checklist for everything.
Yeah, we had a work order that the estimating system we have in the academy, that we have a work order that prints off based on what we estimate, and we give that to the guys. It shows the hours, like you said, the same amount of hours and materials and all that stuff, and then the foreman can get all that loaded up, and they know exactly what's to get done. We're kind of old school. We have job folders that have papers in it, so that would have the work order in there. They have a workflow, so they know day one we need to do. They got the patio. Day two, we're doing this, installing, whatever it is, and kind of laid out. They know each day what they need to get accomplished, and that's what you can use to hold them accountable. And then
Yeah.
we'd also have the directions in there. If there has to be a gate pin number to get in the gate access or whatever it is, that's all in this job folder, and the foreman has it, and they know exactly what has to get done. So, and then checklists.
Yeah.
Every day, did they clean the job site up? Whatever it is, there's a checklist for everything. So
yeah, exactly. And what we're doing too, Scott, is we're taking all those forms, all that paper that, there's still a lot of people that use that paper, but we've taken that and it's all digital now.
Yeah.
And these CRMs are so fucking cheap. I don't even notice the $200 that comes out of my account anymore. Because it just saves me so much time, and everything is real time. If I get a call from the client saying, oh, hey, I'd actually want to do this mulch. Okay, hop on, boom, change it, done. Crew gets a notification, and it's taken care of. Yeah. In real time, it's all 100% immediate. And I think just a lot of people, I think a lot of business owners, we first start off in the grind, doing all the work, and we hire on some helpers, and then we try to get out of that trap. of working in business all day and coming home at night for work. Okay. I urge everybody, if that's your situation right now, okay, to stay up tonight and write out the job. If you don't have a CRM, fine. Get a fucking pen and paper, open a Word document, type it out. Just type it out, print it off, meet the crew in the morning, hand them that checklist, and then leave. Yeah. And that's what it is. And they're going to follow it. It's just the scheduling like that. It's so I used to be so concerned with just the work. Like, oh, we got to do the work. We got to get the work done. Now my biggest concern is scheduling. Like, I got to get the scheduling done. I got to make sure it's on point. I got to make sure, if I stay up at night, it's because I'm worried that I missed something on the checklist. Because nowadays it's just so detrimental to me. It gives me such anxiety to think that I left something off the checklist and I'm going to have to drive out to the job. Like, that's what it is. I'd rather spend my time, making sales and dealing with this stuff inside the office or out on console.
Yep. Yeah. And as far as scheduling too, like if you don't have a CRM, you're just getting started and not sure how to plan out your jobs. Like you said, just do a piece of paper, get a calendar out, use your Google Calendar or, Apple Calendar, whatever it is, start scheduling out. Just start somewhere, get it started, and just think about how, when you get to the job site, what you need to do. As if you're the foreman, you need to do this, and start jotting some of those key points down and just make a list for your team. Yeah. Make sure they have all the materials listed out. I guarantee it's going to save you lots of time and a lot of money in the end. So just get started.
Done, dude. Dude, I have a morning checklist. I have an end of job checklist. I have a park the truck checklist. We have just on my jobs, I actually print off a map and I'll go through, I'll do like the snip and sketch on Windows and I'll highlight the areas of where the trailers are going to be parked and where the mulch is going to be delivered and where the boulders are going to be delivered and how it needs to look. Okay? Because I'm not, like I said earlier, just going to the job site and trying to point and things like that. All it does is it just causes me anxiety because I'm, I just get in my own way anymore. And everybody has these stories of, going to the job site and like the crew kicking them off the job site. Okay, I do it. My guys will literally tell me, like, you just need to get the fuck out of here because you're just making us all anxious, right? Because you get there and you see things and you're like, oh, I can make that better. Oh, I can make that better. It's like, no, just trust the process and let it go. But like all this stuff can be done online. I mean, you can do it. It's very simple. Like I said, if you don't want a CRM, fine. But even Yardbooks is free. I like the basic plan on Jobber is $70. Like, how much fuel do you honestly spend as a business owner driving back and forth to the job site because they don't know what they're doing or there's not real-time updates on things?
Yeah. So we had a big magnetic board at our shop that the crews can come in and see exactly, and that planned out our whole week. So on that board we had Monday through Friday, or Saturday, I should say, all the way through, and then the foremans went across. So the foremans could see when they came in there, okay, Monday I'm taking these 3 guys, and then we had little colored dots that had, which skid steer they're taking, which truck they're taking, which trailer, so they can see, okay, I'm taking this, and every single day they can kind of see what's going on. And we had, so it was my dad, myself, and one other designer. So we'd have weekly meetings, usually every Thursday night, Thursday afternoon. We get together and plan out the whole week, what, as far as equipment, who's going to wear. And then we had a whole month calendar too that we had, so we schedule out all the jobs in the future. So if you don't have the software, you can do it something that way. And that, to me, that was easy because then we could just move people around. If it rains, something got added on or whatever, you can move things really easy. But you have to get started somewhere. Do it dirty.
Yeah, just do it. I mean, it's just cheap, man. But and also too, another thing that we started doing is me and my foreman now, we meet every Friday morning. We meet every Friday morning. He comes to my house. We got our shop in the back now, or my office in the back. But even if I didn't have the office, I'd still have him come to my house. Okay, because we have coffee in the morning about 7:30, and we take 45 minutes, and we call the planning commission, and we go through everything for the next week. So, and basically, we also we take 10-15 minutes and review the last week to see what we could do better, and then we go through and we review the following week, and we come up with a plan. Yeah. And just that alone, just that 45 minutes alone, saves us 5 hours, 7 hours out in the field. Yeah. Because we're just we're setting expectations. I'm able to set expectations with them, like face to face. Like, hey man, like it's just got to be done. This is what's got to happen. Okay, and then 2, it gets it all in his head before the weekend. Okay, because guess what he's going to do on the rest of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? He's going to be thinking about the week. He's like, all right, yeah, let's do this. Okay, yeah, no, yeah, I think that's going to work out better. Let's do that. And so it gets him prepared, and it pushes some of it off of me as the owner onto my foreman, which is that's what they're fucking there for. Okay, your foreman, if you have a foreman and they don't have that responsibility, okay, being able to like take some of that off your shoulders, they're not really foremen, and they're just kind of a glorified crew member, right?
Yeah. We had person to see. I'm trying to see who it is. Quinn asked, "Can you share your quotes again? I need to do that day by day with tools and expectations." Yeah, so definitely.
Yeah, I'd love to.
And then Sal asked, I think he just hopped on. So scheduling, how do you go on about scheduling when the weather can go from sunny to rain here in Utah? So he may have missed the conversation we had about scheduling 5 days a week.
Yeah, man. So instead of scheduling 5 days a week, we only schedule 4. And it's actually on my calendar. It's on the jobber calendar, which everybody on the team has access to. On Fridays, it has an event every single Friday, and it's labeled no work with a question mark. Okay. So what this does is I've allowed my team, I said, look, I'm going to schedule this stuff Monday through Thursday. Okay. Now, if it gets done, if we get everything done that we need to, and we don't have any upsells, we don't have like any emergency work, then we'll take Friday off. Okay. Or if somebody during the week doesn't get enough hours, then they can come in on Fridays and they can wash the equipment to like make up hours. So we don't call it really a 4-10 schedule. It's just Monday through Thursday, and my guys know if they bust ass and get it all done, then they can go home on Fridays. But with the weather, okay, what's better? Everybody knows that, okay, it rains on Wednesday. We'll come in on Saturday to make it up. Okay, your team doesn't want to come in on Saturday. You don't want to come in on Saturday. Your wife doesn't want you to go in on Saturday. Okay, your team's spouses don't want them to go in on Saturday. So let's just kind of eliminate that right there, and let's say, okay, let's go on Friday. Let's get it done. So all my team, my team and their spouses know that, Fridays are like iffy. Like they got to make sure that they keep it open. Now, if somebody comes at me and says, hey, I got to schedule a doctor's appointment, I did it for 2 Fridays from now. Okay, done, go. They know Fridays are kind of the days to schedule that important stuff. All right, but I don't know, man. It's just kind of created a culture in my business. It's kind of created this game, this challenge in the business of, dude, I don't want to work on Friday. Let's go. Like I want to go up to the mountains, or I want to go, fishing or something like that. Like let's bust ass. Let's get this done. I've driven past the job sites before at like 6:30 at night, and they're just barely cleaning up. I'm like, hey man, what happened? He's like, no, we got everything done on the checklist, and yeah, we don't want to be here till we're gonna go out of town this weekend, and so we're gonna get it done.
I say, don't, like you said it too, don't be afraid to give your crews, you know, the stuff to do it, and don't be afraid if they make a mistake. Let them learn. You learn from the mistakes you made on doing this for years or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Let them kind of learn on their own. I mean, obviously, give them as much guidance as you can, give them as much information, but let them take control. Let them be responsible for it, and you'll be surprised. I guarantee you'll be surprised what they can do. If not,
that
just
comes with that came with raising my prices. So I raised my prices to enough, and we've talked about all this before. I call it 50% gross profit is what I aim for. Which honestly, if you take all of your quotes, anybody watching right now, okay, if you take all of your quotes and you calculate up your materials and your labor burden, all right, and you tack on the 50% the gross profit, all right, I bet you it's more than what you bid the job for. I almost guarantee it. Okay, and if it's not, then good for you. Okay, but to be able to charge enough for my jobs, raising my prices allowed me to step away and feel more comfortable about mistakes happening. Okay, because if you're not bidding properly, then all you're fucking doing is just stressing out. You're just stressing out all week. Like, we got to do this. We got to get that done. You show up to the job and instead of walking around and telling guys like, hey, good job, man, or hey, what if we did it this way? The first thing you do is freak out. Like, why aren't you done with this yet? And you grab a shovel and you start shoveling shit, grab a broom and you start sweeping shit, and you're getting all anxious. And your team, let's not forget about the team that's sitting there watching their employer do this. They start freaking out. Like, oh God, we're gonna get fired, or oh, what's wrong? What happened? Like, does he not have any money, and we need to hurry up and get this done, or what? And so raise your prices, and yeah, let it. I guess what I should say is allowing your team to make mistakes is easier when you have a little bit of money to play with.
yeah. I'd like to know what everybody is doing right now for scheduling and what's their process. So put the notes in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys are doing. Are you using software? Are you using it by paper, Google Calendar, whatever it is? Let us know.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah. Let's also too just if you aren't using the software yet, I want to know why.
Yeah. Well,
I'm really curious. I'm really curious why.
Yeah. Well, if it is the money, you'll be surprised what you can do with that. Whatever you said, $200 a month you pay for Jobber. Is that what it is?
Yeah, and I don't even notice it anymore.
Yeah. Well, what's your time worth?
Right.
Trying to do all this stuff, It's.
Dude, the 200. I would pay $500 a month just to have the quoting feature that Jobber has.
Nice.
I would pay $500 a month because that's how much time it saves me.
Yeah.
I don't have to drive out to do quotes anymore, or to go to deliver them.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how much time that saves me. So I was really reluctant to it at first because I'm like, oh shit, this is just it's so expensive. How am I going to afford this? And now I'm like, how did I go so long without doing it?
Yeah. So
what are we getting? I saw Daily Planner, Jobber.
Another one, since we use LMN, we're using LMN Time and Google Calendar. Nice.
Google Calendar, okay.
So let's see.
That's good.
Saul said he's using
Google
Calendar.
Okay, so the Daily Planner, I can't see their names.
That's Jeremy, I think it was. Yeah.
Okay, but how do you get that information to your team? You can go ahead and answer that, Nicole. I want to know, with a Daily Planner, how do you get them? How do you get that to them? Is it a morning meeting, or do you have to drive out to the job sites?
Let's see.
Do you have pre-programmed notes in the job or job description? No, I don't. I go through and I just answer, or I go through every single time and refill them out. So it's just become such a habit now to go through and fill out that info. It's just second nature.
So Jeremy said that who used the daily planner, he says he uses work orders. So yeah, as long and a detailed list. So yeah, as long as they
In a
ask
detailed
you.
list. Okay. What's stopping you, Jeremy, from using a CRM with like an app? Or in the house on the door. But I mean, other than that, though, man, it's just detailed job descriptions for everybody. I know it seems like it's a lot at first. Okay. Spending all this money, and that's why I've always preached. Everybody knows this too. That's why I preach knowing your numbers first. Okay, because as soon as you start making a profit, all these other decisions start becoming so much easier. Right? I
agree with you
100%. As soon as you have profit, as soon as you have money, you can make the decision of, okay, $80 a month during the bid, or sorry, so QuickBooks, but yeah, it's $80 a month. Nobody bats an eye at that. Okay, nobody bats an eye at the $6 Starbucks that they get every morning, right? So if you can just get I don't give a shit what CRM you use or any software you use, but if you can get something like that for a month, and you sit down and you go through and you use it like that, then it's going to save you 5 times as much money.
Yeah.
Driving around everywhere.
So Quinn asked, do you write the job notes for your crew during or the bid or after? I always did it after.
After.
Because there's no point in wasting your time doing it if you didn't get the job. So.
After. Well, normally if we write a quote for somebody now, it's after they've accepted it. It's like if they accept the design or if they accept the job, they're like, okay, let me write you up a quote. But so my quotes are so detailed for a different reason. It's because I want transparency with my clients. But for my job descriptions, they're in the job notes. They are different, but they're I use kind of the details in the quotes to go through it and fill it out. So I mean, if you put them side by side, they're close. But my job notes for my crew, it's listed out. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Deliveries coming this day. Pick up these items on that day. Things like that.
Yeah. Derek said LMN makes a job planner right off his estimates. You can add notes for that when I do my estimates, so I don't have to remember. Yeah, that makes it nice. Yeah.
That's a perk of LMN for sure, because they go, they put it right off that. I'm honestly, to tell you the truth though, and I've seen those notes that LMN creates, like what he's talking about. Mine are so much more detailed. Like so much more detailed. Just in what they do and things like that. And it's really just, practice. It's, Scott, if I asked you to build me if I gave you a pile of rocks, liner, pump, everything like that, and, I asked you to build me a pond feature, and then I pulled some random dude off the street and asked him to build a pond feature, build a pond. Okay. I bet you get done with that pond 3 to 4 times faster than what the guy off the street would, right? Yeah. And because you've had so much practice with it. And that's basically writing out these details on these quotes around the job notes. That's what it is. So, when I tell you it only takes me 20, 30 minutes to be able to type them up now, it used to take me over an hour. But it's just with time, it gets easier and better. And it just becomes a process.
Well, yeah.
It becomes a system.
Yeah, you learn exactly what that you need to write for your team. You can kind of basically go off of. You basically have a checklist maybe in your head, but of what you're gonna fill in there. So it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Derek says Element is a separated client notes and crew notes, so things can be separated. That's nice.
Yep, and that's what we do too. Our client notes, you can hide everything that you need to in Jobber. I don't know. This sounds like it's turning into a commercial for. Oh, sorry, little baby. But it sounds like it's turning a goddamn commercial for Jobber. But like I said, I don't care what CRM you use. Hey, but it honestly, just to tell everybody the truth right now, it's 2021. Okay, people pull out their cell phones and they look up things for reviews. They click one button on Amazon and it's delivered to their house. Okay, just the CRM feature alone of being able to send a quote and have them just click it, or send your crews all this stuff and just have it be a button on their phone. Okay, it's just the way that it's going. I'm sure once they started inventing computers, people started using computers back in the 80s. There was all this drawback of using the computers, and I'm sure there's some office space somewhere or some old man I don't need no damn typing machines in my office.
That's exactly what it was at our place. I remember my parents had the first computer. It was slow as hell, but it did the job. My mom's the only one that used it. He wrote everything
out. Yeah, exactly. Right, but I mean, it's just little things where it's it's a new day and age, man. It's get on it.
Well, it not only makes your life easier, it makes your client's life easier, it makes your customers, your team's life easier. You have to do that. It's just the way of the world anymore.
It's okay. Yeah.
Look at Amazon, how easy they make things. You go on there and click it and get it what you need.
Yeah, and it's perfectly okay. And honestly, we have a whole bunch of millennials now that are becoming homeowners. Okay, and for some god awful reason, there's a bunch of us that have money, and they want to spend it, and I don't know. I've talked to some of my clients before, and they're like, "I'm so glad you just emailed it to me." I'm like, "Really?" I'm like, "Not like the personal touch," and they're like, "No." They're like the two other guys, they had to come over, and then they were late, which made me late to the things that I had to be to, and then they did a little tap dance for me, to sign the quote, and they're like, "We mentioned your name," and then they started talking shit on you. And they're like, "Yours was just so easy. You just emailed it over to us, and we put it in our credit card, and it was done. And we, spent the rest of the night watching Netflix." So, it's all the time I get it where they're like, "Oh yeah, I signed it last night when we were just making dinner. It just popped up on my phone," and I'm like, "Okay, cool. Here, credit card, done."
What you just said a second ago could be a whole nother talk about not bashing other people on the job when you're doing estimates. Don't bash them. Don't do that.
Oh, dude, that's so trashy.
Don't do that. That can come
so trashy, isn't it?
That'll come back by you.
That's so garbage. I know. The best thing is when you run into them at the supplier. I did it with a guy. A guy was talking so much shit. It was like the third quote of the year, and for some reason we were just ranking next to each other on Google or something, where they were pulling both of our cards. But he was just talking mad shit, and I got all three jobs. Okay, but I ran into him at the supplier, and I brought it up. I'm like, "Dude, did I do something to piss you off?" "Oh, no. Who are you? What? Who are you?" I'm like, "You know who I am." I'm like, "Why are you being such a dick?" And you know what I always told people after they're like, "Oh yeah, no, well we told him your name, and he said that you were a terrible landscaper." I'm like, "Oh, that's unfortunate. I actually think they're really nice people." So, it's just, it's trashy. But
that could be a whole nother thing.
yeah. I don't want to turn into that, but
no. But
anyway, as far as scheduling goes, but yeah, scheduling's. I can't even tell how many people do we have on right now.
I think there's.
Is everybody still here?
They're staying about 8 tonight.
Yeah, but just to kind of recap everything, guys. I schedule 4 days out of the 5. All right, you can go back and watch this. Detailed notes for everybody. I have a weekly meeting with my foreman now to go through and plan out the next week. It's just take control of it. Don't let your schedule run you. Okay, because as soon as you start letting your schedule control you, then you're screwed. And I'm not going to sit here and tell everybody either that I'm perfect. Right? There's sometimes if it's 7:30 at night and I get a phone call and I know it's from somebody, I'll pick it up. I'll answer it. Or if something needs to be done on a Saturday, we'll go out and we'll just do it. But it's very rare now, and a lot rarer than what it was when I first started.
Yeah. Just get started. Just start doing something, whether like I said, it's Google Calendar or whatever. Just get started. You'll start seeing the change. I guarantee it. I put money on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how confident I am in it. And just well,
Yeah.
one thing I heard many years ago was we spend more time and energy planning out our vacations than we do planning out our jobs or planning out anything we do in our business. And it's so true. We do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and,
It is, man. And we all know what to do.
really,
We're all experts.
yeah.
Everybody watching this right now, if you own a landscaping business, you're an expert with landscape. You know what to do. Just write the shit down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Write it down and give it to somebody. Okay. Stop pussyfooting around about picking a foreman too. All right. Find somebody that's there every day and show some commitment. Okay. And just give them the responsibility. Turn them into the crew lead first. I mean, obviously, but don't be afraid to hand people, and hand that stuff off and give them the responsibility of taking care of it.
Well, start looking at like if you had to like leave for whatever reason, you had to go do something else that's very important. You had to go pick up your child or whatever it is. Would your crew be able to continue working without you? If not, that's a problem. That's a big problem because if you got in a car accident, what's going to happen to your business? You need to set it up so you can run it. The business can start to run without you. You may not be able to get away totally, but get it started going right now. So
yeah, exactly. And I'm spending this season training my foreman on how to write out these job descriptions. Okay, and then I'm hiring an assistant to help take care of a lot of the back end shit like payroll stuff and dealing with guys in their hours and certain things, calling people back and stuff like that. My goal every single season, from last year on, is to remove myself from the business as much as possible. Okay? And I'm 29. I'm 29 years old, and my goal right now is to remove myself from the business as much as possible. Okay? Because in that way, by the time I'm 35, I can come in and I can make some bigger decisions, right? But my goal is to remove myself in case something happens, because I've had it happen before, and I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah.
So it's and what's the saying, Scott? The best time to plant a tree was 20 years.
Yep.
The next best time is today.
Yep. Exactly. It's so true.
So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how old you are or position you're in. Okay, if you're watching this and you're 50 years old and you got a good helper and you're just out there, you're still out there working. Like, you can make such big changes in one season. You can make drastic changes in one season, and I know because I've done it.
Well, if you're able to set your team to start working out there without you, and you want to grow, you need to be out there doing sales. You need to be out planning all this stuff. And if you're out in the field doing this, you're not going to be able to grow as quickly as you want to. So you need to start planning the things out and start setting it up so you don't have to be in the field. And this is the perfect way to get started doing it.
Yeah.
Perfect way.
You don't even have to do it to grow. I mean, I've kind of said it before, and I think I might need to elaborate on it. But this is something that Derek always said too in the academy. But if you're not growing, you're dying. Okay, and I take that to heart. But I also don't think too that growing is necessarily in revenue.
No.
Okay, you could grow in your profit margins. Okay, if you're making $500,000, if you're revenuing $500,000 right now with 5 employees, okay, make it your goal to revenue, the 600, or tighten up those profit margins. Whatever it is. If you make $500,000 right now and you're coming away with 10% net at the end of the season, okay, bump it up to 15. Get it as tight as you can. Okay, if you can get it all the way up to like 25, and I mean, the quality of life that you would have with 25% net profit. Obviously after paying yourself, but on $500,000. I don't think people really understand what that means.
Well, wouldn't it be nice too
it's just incredible.
Wouldn't it be nice to be able to go home at the end of the night and just be done and not have to worry about those bids? If you had able to step away 2 hours early from that job to go do that estimate and talk to that person, get it all done, and go home and just be done, wouldn't that be awesome? Like, we all want it, but we continued. I get it. In springtime, everybody's slammed. I get all that, but if you can get yourself set up, you don't have to go out there.
You know what's better yet is waking up in the morning and being like, to the zoo today. And call your foreman and say, hey, man, I'm not going to be in today. And then having your foreman say, oh, yeah, no problem, man. That's the ticket.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do that within a year. Easy. Okay?
All right. You got anything else you wanted to add tonight, Alec?
No, I'm good, man. If you want any more to, check out, what is it, million? What's the Academy's website?
I'm sorry, you broke up there, Matt or Alec.
The Academy's website.
Oh, the Academy, it's milliondollarlandscaper.com. But I want to I want to make one note too, or actually a couple notes. For those that just joined in, we are not doing the free for all Fridays anymore. We've cut that out. So if you're interested in promoting anything inside the Academy, please contact me. We'll talk about stuff. I have no problem if you want to share information and share how to do things. I'm all about educating everybody. But when you come in there and start trying to hit everybody up and every single link there, everything they post, we're not having it anymore. So if you continue to do that,
we don't want we don't want your ass reviewing our websites anymore. Okay, just take that shit to it. All right, we don't want it anymore.
Yeah, so that's done. I also
hey guys, but go to go ahead.
We also have a webinar coming up on March 23rd, I think it is. We're going to be talking about company culture and developing company culture. So I encourage everybody to get signed up for that. It's an awesome app called Automate Motivate. It's a pretty sweet deal. So I encourage everybody to get in there. Not necessarily trying to sell stuff, but just get in there to learn about creating that company culture all the time. So I encourage you to hop in that webinar. So, but that's all I got.
That sounds awesome, man. So, okay. Right. Well, I got, just one more thing. Anybody watching right now, I just want you to ask yourself the question. Okay? Because if it's just, and this is something that I ask myself all the time. All right? It's just, what are you suffering for? All right? What's your why? Why are you doing this? Okay, because you're the business owner. All right, and you have 100% control over the future of your business. All right, now, if you want to keep working 10-hour, 12-hour, and not seeing your kids, and not seeing your partner, your spouse, whoever, whatever, whatever, why? What's your why? Okay, ask yourself really, what are you suffering for? Okay, because this information is out here. Also, all the information we just gave you, okay, it's all out here and it's all available. But I just really want you guys to think heavily this week on what's your why? Okay, because if it's for your kids, but you're still working 80 hours a week and you're not seeing them, is it really for your kids?
Yeah.
Okay, but think about that. Okay, I love you guys. I will see you. Yeah, later. But you have you have a wonderful rest of your night, Scott.
Yep, you too, Alex. Thanks for hopping on. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys joining in here, and we'll be on here next week. Look forward to it, and I'll put a link to the webinar in the show notes. So we'll see you guys later. Have a great night.
Yeah.
Bye.
See ya.